Broadcasting from the studios of WKEN, where every day it's the weekend. It's the Ken Calvert Show with your host, Ken Calvert.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Ken Calvert Show, coming to you live from the Casual Studios of WKEN, where every day it's the weekend. By the way, I'm really bad at this, but if you wouldn't mind, would you hit me with a like on Facebook? The Ken Calvert Show fan page. Oh, yeah, it's up there. And if you get a chance, subscribe to the podcast on Apple iTunes, and I thank you in advance for that. Coming up today, I have an interview I did with David Crosby back in 2006. I'll explain why I selected this interview in a moment. CSNY was playing the Palace. By the way, do you remember the Palace? Oh, it was so long ago. Beautiful building out in Auburn Hills. Pistons used to play there, as a matter of fact. Kidding. It's so sad to go by that building now and just seeing nothing. I mean, it's just so many great memories in that building, and it looks like you could just open the doors right now, put a band inside, and people could come in and enjoy, or a sporting team at all. I digress. In this interview that I'm going to play for you, David brings a political charge, if you will, into the interview. He basically lays it all out there. I think you will hear some parallels to what's happening in politics today, with the exception of a few topics that most certainly have readjusted over the last few years. I'll have more on David Crosby because I kind of got into something that I didn't expect to get into. I'll do that in a moment, but I wanted to tell you about this. I got a new ride at 2019 Lincoln MKC with a 2.3 turbo. It's pretty quick, man. I like it a lot. And I think I got it because I want to be just like Matthew, all right, McConaughey. Boy, those are some bizarre spots, aren't they, for Lincoln? So I decided to do a little homework, look it up and see if I could find out how much Matthew McConaughey is being paid to do those spots. An independent writer by the name of Drew Hausman wrote, I can't speak to the specifics of that deal, but however much you think it is, I would triple that guess. Commercial spokespeople get stupid money. So I was guessing that McConaughey was probably getting about $1 million, so now I have to triple that, $3 million. Well, then I read more. I can tell you this, McConaughey's advertising ambitions extend way beyond Lincoln. In September of 2016, Wild Turkey announced McConaughey as its new creative director. His $4 million contract with the whiskey brand makes him the highest-paid creative director in the business, according to Adweek. That goes back to November of 2017. That may have changed. Okay, so do the McConaughey ads work, you ask? Well, I went looking for that too. Matthew's first year was in 2014 with Lincoln. Lincoln that year sold 94,475 vehicles, or thereabout. In 2018, Lincoln sold over 112,000 vehicles, but that number is beginning to plateau. McConaughey, by the way, his net worth is said to be about $95 million. His wife, Brazilian model, and I hope I say it correctly, she's also a designer, Camila Alves, or is it Alves, boasts a net worth of $5 million. So together, they got a lot of money. So I think you might find that interesting. Just a little backstory on, am I saying McConaughey one time and McConaughey the other? I probably am. I apologize. By the way, I want to go deeper into my MKC experience with you because I have a lot of work to do in terms of learning the tech toys that come with these new rides. It's incredible. It's like driving a laptop around. It's pretty cool, really. Okay, now getting back to my source point for David Crosby. I saw this on Twitter yesterday. You can follow me on Twitter if you'd like, at Ken Calvert Show, at Ken Calvert Show. I saw this on Twitter, so it has to be true. No, it actually came from David Crosby. Let me read it. David Crosby tweeted this. 3 major music labels make $19 million a day from streaming while artists count their pocket change. Let me read that again. 3 major music labels make $19 million a day from streaming while artists count their pocket change. Well, that kind of exploded in his little Twitter sphere. For example, one person replies, Ticketmaster is why I no longer go to concerts. The fees are a joke. It's a monopoly. We're going to talk more about that. This is another tweet, which is one reason why artists have to tour constantly and charge so much for tickets. Really discouraging for the creative process. Another person replies, insiders at Spotify hold 71 million shares of stock worth just over $149 a share. That's just shy of $11 billion. Wow. Steve Lukather replied to David Crosby, ask this question. Who decided Apple should get 30% off the top? It all started there, pre-Spotify, 30%, before anyone else gets a dime. With records, well, we got 15% for life. The record company got 85% for life. And we have to pay all costs from 15%. And it's only gotten worse, sadly. Now, do you remember early streaming, like 1999 streaming? Gonna party like it's 1999, right? Well, it was a scary proposition back then, but it was free music. You would close your eyes and download. Then we had the scare of Y2K. I found a great article on all of this on a site called mixdown.com. The title is Napster to Now. Today, we don't even think twice. In fact, for a fee, you can get commercial-free Spotify or shop till you drop at iTunes and so on. Listen to these numbers. Spotify, more than 75 million, including 20 million paying subscribers. Apple Music, 11 million subscribers. Amazon Prime Music, not available. Pandora, nearly 80 million subscribers. Google Play, not available. So good, right? Wrong, for a myriad of reasons. Bands aren't making any money anymore from the record companies, so how do they prop up their once lofty profit margins? I'll tell you where. By selling merchandise and by never-ending tours. Tours with ticket prices now that most of us truly can't afford. But we turn our heads and cough. We want to see our favorite bands. People like me want to see my hero, Bob Seger. For the sake of this podcast, I just looked online. It's shocking. Lawn seats for Bob Seger. 4 dates now at DTE, Pine Knob. There are 641 seats left at $106. That's lawn seats. You want to be up front? Count on it being $500, $600, $700 for a seat. I'm not here to blast Bob or any artist. It's the concert industry standard now. You see, that wonderful free music we enjoy isn't really free anymore, is it? A band or an artist has to pay the bills, and I'll go along with that. We all do. So what's the solution? Sadly, I don't have one. Somebody's making money, but it isn't you and it isn't me. We work like hell every day through weather like this in the Midwest so that we can enjoy the pleasures of summer and maybe, just maybe, take in 1, 2, or maybe 3 concerts outside DTE, Meadowbrook, Freedom Hill. But we can't because we can't afford to do it. Or if we do, something else is going to have to suffer. I am shaking my head that in 20 short years, the entire industry has been totally retooled and reinvented, and it was done without even considering us, the customers, the people that propped up the product, that listened to it, back in the day bought it, and created these bands. Our titans, our heroes. So I guess it's official. I have become my dad. I'm becoming a grumpy old man. A curmudgeon Ken here, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize, but I wanted you to hear the background on that. So damn you, David Crosby, damn you. It all started with your tweet, and here's David Crosby from 2006.
You're on Coast to Coast.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to go back to the interview, the old-fashioned way, via the telephone. David, you there?
Yeah.
Hi, it's Ken Calvert. How you doing?
Hi, Ken.
How are things? Are you in L.A.?
Yes, L.A. That's where I am.
And you are rehearsing, sir, is that correct?
Yes, we are.
How does that process work?
Well, it's a fairly complex process technically, but our part of the job's pretty simple. We just have to learn a bunch of new songs and re-familiarize ourselves and each other with the old stuff and put together a set.
How long have you guys collectively been off? Oh, about 2 years? As Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young.
Yeah, it's about 2 years since we went out the last time.
And so, I mean, everything working out well in the studio and good to be back in that fold, yeah?
Yeah, it's a great band.
Of course, you're kicking off the tour here shortly, July 6th in Philadelphia, and will eventually work your way to Detroit on my birthday, and I thank you for that, August 31st, and going indoors to the Palace of Auburn Hills. And I'm not asking that obligatory Detroit question, but do you have memories of Detroit, and do you enjoy playing the area?
Yeah, I mean, I've been there, oh my God, so many different times and so many different places over the years. I mean, we probably played Pine Knob,
Surely.
Probably 10 times.
Mm-hmm.
And before that, we played other places there.
This one's actually got a little different take, just by the very nature of the title of the tour, the Freedom of Speech '06. And so let's talk to that a little bit. Have we lost our freedom of speech?
Close.
You truly believe that?
I would say that there's enough fear right now to where the press, at least, is severely muzzled. They are acting pretty much, at least all the mainstream media, I think, have been intimidated into a lack of courage. I don't think it's that these people have managed to take the Constitution completely away.
Yeah.
Which I think they would love to do.
Well, don't you also think it has to do with the abundance of news and the outlets that we have available to us on the various...
That's so important. Puppy crushed by bulldozer, film at 11.
But isn't that all about the ratings game, David?
Yes, it is.
And I mean,
but it's not about being a journalist.
But are there any...
I remember people like Walter Cronkite.
Of course, I do too. Oh, you and I are about the same age. But I guess my question about the Freedom of Speech '06, and I think about all of the things that are going on. Even take, for example, another formatic element of country and the Dixie Chicks radio stations now saying, should we play their music? They have an opinion.
Well, that was largely one particular group of radio stations that pulled them off because they're huge supporters of George Bush, and they didn't like it. And so they took them off about 1,400 radio stations, which should let you know quite accurately who it was that did it.
Well, David Crosby is my guest, and I want to talk more about the fact that it's called the Freedom of Speech '06 Tour. Will there be some discussion along with the music as to what you think is going on politically?
No, I don't think so. You don't talk at people or preach at people when they come to a concert. You can sing them songs that are about something other than June Moon Spoon, but we generally try not to just stand there and rant at people. People don't like that, and we definitely, try to make it clear that we are staunch believers in America and in this country's Constitution and Bill of Rights and Declaration of Independence, and that we are going to not have them taken away from us or abrogate our civil rights or take away our living under the rule of law without a fight. And so we're going out to fight.
With that said, how do you break the show up then? I mean,
we do everything. We have so many songs now. We have like 900 songs. Mm-hmm. So
that's going to be a long show, 900 songs.
Yeah, that'd be a couple of weeks. We have, an awful lot of songs, and some of them will be political, and some of them will be, about love, which is what I like to write about.
Right, I was going to say, at the end of the day, it does get personal, doesn't it? I mean, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that writing process, the reason why I mentioned that, I spent a nice time on Tuesday with an old friend and Detroiter Bob Seeger, and I asked him about the writing process, so I'll ask you that. I know we don't have a lot of time, but do things come to you, or do you specifically assign an area and a time of day to sit down and write some music?
No, Dylan's that discipliner. He used to get up in the morning before breakfast and sit at the typewriter and just wait, and the words would come to him. But no, I'm not that organized. I do make a space in my day for it. I will sit at the piano or pick up a guitar and noodle through some changes and see if one of the muses wants to come by and drop off something. But we have a tremendous amount of new songs and a tremendous amount of material, and we, feel that this is, a good time for us to go out and speak our minds, believe in this country. All
right, how long a show do we get August 31st here in Detroit, David Crosby?
It varies from night to night, but I would guess, around 3 hours.
And if you had to say that there was a leader of the band, who would that be?
We try not to do that. Bob said, don't follow leaders, watch your parking meters, and we try to stick to that.
Now, do you socialize while you're on the road, or do you basically go to your rooms and say, I'll see you tomorrow?
No, we see each other quite a bit. We like each other.
And your families are close as well, I would think.
Yeah, my family's coming on the road with me. I don't think the other guys' families are, but my family is.
And how many in your family, David?
Well, in this part of it, there's just my wife and my 11-year-old son, Django. I mean, I have a much larger family, but most of them are all grown up.
Now, is Django playing any musical instruments?
He sings a lot. He's got a great voice.
And you encourage that?
I do.
Yeah. And what about, there was a time that you enjoyed being on the open waters. Do you still find time to get on any sort of a craft?
Yeah, I still have my sailboat, and I rebuilt it last year, and I am planning on sailing it to Hawaii next summer.
So that's a great distraction for you.
Well, it's a great way to stay in touch with the real world. This is kind of a mixed metaphor, but it's a great way to keep your feet on the ground.
All right, if you had a message for the listeners, David Crosby, what would it be besides come see us August 31st?
Believe in this country and stand up for what you believe in.
I look forward to seeing you soon, friend.
Thanks.
All right, be well.
You can subscribe to the Ken Calvert Show podcast on Apple iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, or iHeartRadio. It's also available by going directly to www.thekencalvertshow.com. You can reach Ken at kencalvertpodcast@gmail.com. The preceding program is the property of Ken Calvert and may not be rebroadcast without the written permission of Ken Calvert.